They expected you to react, but you didn't. And that's the exact moment something changed between the two of you. So if that is hitting you and feels relatable, pick your card. We have pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. And as usual, we have a bonus message at the end of all of the readings. Pile 1, welcome. What are they thinking when they pretend they don't care? Ooh, this person wasn't ready to see you like this. So this doesn't happen in a planned meetup or something. This person's not even thinking about you in this exact moment. They're not prepared. I don't even think they look that good. They're just somewhere normal, like Starbucks or something like that. Running errands, out with someone, just grabbing a quick bite to eat or groceries. It's just like a regular moment here. And then they see you. Not gradually, but it's like they don't even register that it's you right away, because there's this like split second where they don't even quite register that it is you. And then they're like, oh, wait, I'm looking at her. It is her. And then everything in them just like pauses. So there's this, the Page of Pentacles is a specific reaction that happens. So their body sort of does something before their mind does. So they're walking and they stop, or they like are about to grab something and they just like stop, like they pause, or their attention is just like zoned in on you and like they don't even mean to, but it hits them pretty hard here. So this person wasn't expecting to see you here like this in real life. So you do have a couple zodiacs though. Like you have a couple zodiac signs that have come up. So you started it off with Aries, Pisces, and Aquarius. So those are all very strong zodiacs. And if you're one of those, I mean, they definitely ran into you. So when this person sees you, they're like, whoa, I don't see them. It's not through a screen. This person's right in front of me. And what's throwing them off isn't that it's just you. It's just that how you're presenting yourself. Like you're not scanning the room for them. The 8 of Pentacles is you standing your ground, being present, not holding any tension in your shoulders. You know, you're just moving, flowing, just like you belong there. And there's this moment where they expect something automatic, like, no, hi, how are you? Here's Gemini. They're expecting like eye contact, or like I said, a reaction, like them being recognized by you that feels familiar. Because before, there was always something there with you guys. Like even when things were rocky with you guys, you see the Tower here, there was still that like energetic pull between you guys. But this time it's not really the same anymore. You either don't even notice them, or you do and you ignore them. So this is like being neutral, grounded, simple. You might just give them a quick little, hey, and that's it. And that's what makes them stop in their tracks here, because they don't know how to meet that version of you. So there's this tiny little gap in their response though. Like they're trying to catch up, because in their mind, they expected you to feel like you always did. Taurus and Libra. They want you to always feel accessible, responsive, pulled towards them. But you don't. You don't lean in. You don't fill the space. You don't carry the emotional weight for both of you. And there's this conversation that may have happened. It would have been short, surface level. They would be like, hey, how's it going? Where are you going? But underneath it all, they're not like fully there, because part of them is still stuck in that first moment of you guys trying to process things, Why does this feel so different is what they're asking. 6 of Wands. This is something subtle happening here. So you're not trying to extend the interaction or, fill in the blanks, like I said. You're not lingering. You're just there. And then look, that's you, 10 of Wands, and you're out. You're out of it. You're gone. Because before, you would have held on to that a little bit longer, tried to linger, even without realizing it. You would have made space. You would have come towards them with Cancer here. You would have just stayed a little bit more open. And now you're not. You've packed your bags and left. So it's, look, when the interaction ends, it's the 10 of Pentacles and the Hanged Man. So when you leave, just because the interaction's over, they're left thinking like, they're left there and they're like, okay, wait, I need to move my legs now, but they're stuck in one spot. And they're like, that's not the same as what it usually is. Why doesn't it feel like before? That doesn't feel like somebody who still likes me, somebody who's emotionally tied to me. And then they realize like, they didn't even react to me. She didn't hug me. She didn't even care that I was here. King of Pentacles. And they're like, I'm not used to that. And that's throwing me off. So this wasn't exactly something they could have prepared for. They couldn't have like built a narrative before seeing you. They didn't have distance. They literally saw it with their own eyes and then experienced it in real time. And now they're left standing in that uncomfortable feeling, trying to understand what changed. And why did you stop responding to me like that? Because whatever version they thought they were going to run into with you, that's not who they saw today when they saw you. Yeah, Queen of Wands, that's you. Just clear, not loud, not dramatic. That's you. Follow us into pile 2 if you'd like to look into some more energies. And we'll see you there. Otherwise, follow us into the bonus message. We'll be there too. Bye. Pile 2. What are they thinking while they pretend they don't care? You look different. Pile 2. They don't recognize they don't recognize you anymore. This isn't just about like seeing you again. Because when they first notice you, they recognize you. Like, of course they do. But there's this second like jab that hits almost immediately after. And it's super subtle here. It's not like, it's your appearance, yes. But there's also something else. And it's harder for them to explain here. So there's this pause looking at you like she looks like Temperance. She looks like the High Priestess. Something's different. And they can't really put their thumb on it. So they're kind of staring. Because what they expected to feel is the old you, familiar, right? A sense of like, I know how this person is. I know what they look like. I know what they wear. I know what they're going to say. I know what their energy feels like around me. But instead, there's a disconnect this time. So you see that? You got Leo here. Did I tell you that's Sagittarius here? You're standing, you're moving, you're talking. You're literally existing and breathing the same air as them, but you don't feel the same anymore. So that's what kind of throws them off here. We got Capricorn as well. This isn't you acting cold. You're not. Like, you're not being distant. You're still giving things. Look, there's Libra there. You're just different. There's this moment where they're sitting on their throne watching you interact with someone else. Even if it's something small here. Cancer, conversation, a reaction. Something you say to this person. And they notice, like, the way you carry yourself now feels more grounded, less reactive. And it's interesting because you never used to be that way with them. You're not like scanning for their reactions anymore. You're not adjusting your behavior, your attitude based off them. You're just solid. Here's the Tower. So there's also this thing that they notice, like, you're not trying to be understood. Whereas before, there was always this like openness where you were willing to meet them where they were at. Page of Swords. This is you explaining yourself, connecting, bridging that gap. But now you're not doing that. And it's not because you're shutting down, but it's because you're not overgiving anymore, overextending anymore. And they 100% can feel that, even if they don't explain that to you. Virgo. This person's trying to interact with you like in a normal way. It's not dramatic, but your responses are like dry. They're not like emotionally loaded or anything. Like you're not trying to get them in deeper for a conversation. And that's what makes it click for them. They're like, she's not showing up the same way anymore. Because look at this communication. There was always a certain version of the way you guys spoke together, the way you would be open with them, more responsive, more emotionally available. King of Swords. That's not really there for them anymore, though. And it creates this quiet, like, confusion with them. Because with the world, they're trying to match this new version of you. But they can't match to the one that they remember. And it's not lining up. There's also this moment here with the Page of Wands that you're not affected by them anymore. You're not hyper aware of them anymore. You're not changing the way you show up just because they're there. Like you're just existing beside them. And that's what really lands for them, because it's not about distance in the way of like taking space. It's about being independent. So there's even this thought that crosses their mind, like, I don't know how to read them anymore. I don't know how to talk to them anymore. How do I even approach them? Because before all of that, they knew how to egg you on. Like they knew what your reactions meant, even when they were subtle. They knew when you kind of like frowned down what that meant. And now they don't. And that creates this like loss of control, even if they don't consciously see it like that. Because now they're in this position where they don't know what version of you they're dealing with. And that is really uncomfortable for them. So there's this deeper realization here too, where you didn't just change how you feel. You changed how you showed up over and over again. So they're trying to process that. And every time you're showing up as this stronger person, right? Because feelings, they can question those. They can assume things. But behavior, consistent energy, consistent presence, that's harder to deny. They can see it in real time changing. So that's what makes them feel differently, because now it's not just maybe things are different. It's, I don't recognize her anymore. The sun, the world, like I don't recognize them anymore. And that creates this distance that was never there before. It's not physical. It's not forced. It's just distance. There's no drama. There's no scene. There's just that polite distance with a smile. And it says everything they need to know. So follow us into pile 3 if you're interested. Otherwise, skip to the bonus collective message at the very end. I'll see you there. Bye. Pile 3, welcome. What are they thinking while they pretend they don't care? You're not talking to them. Or you're talking to them and you just don't care anymore. So this one doesn't get them right away because when they see you, there is interaction. I'm sorry. Yes, there is. You don't ignore them. You don't act cold, but you're not the first one to reach out. You're not going to make it awkward here. You're polite with the King of Cups. And at first that like almost eases them, relaxes them, because it feels like, oh, okay, things are normal. We're good. You know, this is manageable. We're fine. Nothing weird here, right? You say hi, you smile. Maybe there's a quick little exchange here. But on the surface, everything looks fine with the King of Wands. Everything, King of Pentacles, King of Wands. But something feels weird. You got Cancer, Scorpio, Sagittarius. It's not obvious, but it's their emotions. You see that? You got 3 of those. They feel it within like 3 seconds into the interaction. And I think they came into this with an expectation of like a certain kind of pull between you guys. There's like this subtle emotional engagement you guys used to have, you know? Pisces suggests that something underneath was still there. It was their assumption. Like they always thought it would still be there. And it's like, it's weird. It's like you're responding, but you're not expanding the conversation. Does that make sense? You're not really caring about what they're talking about. Like it's like you're talking to a coworker now. And okay. So they open up to you about something here, pile 3. And you normally would have reacted a certain way. Like you would have laughed about it, asked a couple follow-up questions. That's how you would normally react and talk to him about it. But this time you don't. You let it land. And that's it. It's so subtle that if someone else was watching this interaction between you guys, they wouldn't notice anything. But your person notices because they're used to like a more in-depth version of you. There's also this other moment I feel where with lovers here, that's Gemini, they try to like pull you in with something they say. Aquarius and Taurus, this is very test energy. So they're like saying something to try and test you. But you were chill, kind, neutral, unattached. They're not trying to start a fight with you, but they're trying to see if you'll engage, and you do not. So even if things were complicated, even if things were tense, there was still like something connecting you guys. Kind of like an emotional, I don't know, like a string holding you guys together, you know? And now that it's gone, they can feel it. Oh, look, I just said that, the string, and then the cat's hanging from a string here. So, yeah, this person was trying to have a pretty emotional conversation with you, but you weren't really having any of it, it looks like. You're not avoiding them, you're just not really choosing them. So that lands a lot deeper than anything else. There's Capricorn as well. This person realizes that they know you can engage in conversations. They know you can have deep conversations. You're just choosing not to. There's even this thought that crosses their mind where they're like, why does this feel so awkward? Why does this feel so surface? Why is this so blah? But they can't fix it. They can't change it. They can't pull you back into that old dynamic because you're not going to meet them there anymore. So there's also this like discomfort that builds between you guys. So Virgo suggests that there's an interaction that feels limited, contained. Like in the original Rider-Waite deck, the Hermit is standing like on a cliff, just staring out. And that's what this feels like. This person's just in a reflective state. But they only realize it once this interaction ends between you two. So there's the no lingering. There's no one more thing. There's just, okay, I'm going to go. And that's Aries just left standing in that space again. They're like, they were nice, but they weren't nice, and they weren't present. And that's when it is obvious to them. It wasn't rejection. It was absence, like energetically absent. And that's harder to argue with, harder to push against, harder to misunderstand, because you showed up, you were there, you were kind, you just weren't interested. So whatever connection this person thought was still there between you guys is not there anymore. It's not dramatically not there. It's just gone. Thanks for spending your energy with me. We're going to go into pile 4 and then the bonus collective message at the very end. So we'll see you there. Bye. Pile 4. What are they thinking while they pretend that they don't really care? After you leave, they keep replaying something here. Yep, Tower. So this doesn't hit fully during your guys' time together, but it hits. You see that Tower? So yeah, they get a little bit thrown off, but they don't see the magnitude of it until you're gone. So they're still trying to respond, still trying to look after this relationship. But once you leave the house or the restaurant, wherever you guys were, it hits them. Because there's this moment where everything's quiet again. They're back to whatever they were doing before you guys met up. And their attention, though, isn't there anymore. With the 7 arrows, they're looking back. They're replaying it. It's not dramatic. They're just sort of replaying the things that you guys talked about in their head here with the 8 of Cups. The first second they saw you, the way you reacted, what you said, what you didn't say. And the more they go over it, the more something feels off. So now they're not just reacting, they're analyzing, pulling it apart. They're trying to look for patterns. They're thinking, wait, and they go back to it again here. So they're trying to figure exactly what felt different. Because at first it didn't seem like anything major went on here. Look, you were nice, you spoke, you didn't make it awkward. So why does it feel like something changed? And that's when it starts to click. You have a couple, so you have a couple zodiac signs here. You have Aquarius, Virgo, Taurus, and Libra. So it wasn't right when you guys met. It was right after you guys met that it clicked. Like it wasn't something you said. It was what wasn't there anymore. There was nothing holding you guys together. No weight, no sense that like that moment even mattered to you the same way it mattered to them. And that's what they can't stop thinking about. They could tell. There's also this very specific moment that creeps in slowly. Scorpio, Aries. Ace of Wands is not reacting afterwards, not looking back, not lingering, like not pausing anything. You just continued forward, continued on with your day. And they can't stop thinking about that part because before, even after interactions, there would have been something, hey, it was great to see you. Or like even right after, like a glance back, like to say hi or to say bye with your eyes. Or even like just something that said, this meant something. You know, you can tell when people want to be there. But this time, there was nothing like that. Sagittarius here. And so that's sitting heavy with them here. This person's questioning themselves in the moment where they're like, does this interaction mean less to them than it meant to me? And that thought doesn't really go away. So they're realizing they felt something in that interaction that was probably only one-sided. So you didn't mirror that energy though. So that creates that imbalance where like they can't ignore it. So they also feel a loss of control being left here. The Sun. They can't go back and redo anything. They can't fix how they showed up previously because it wasn't that one interaction. It was everything. Capricorn here. That moment, that mess up already happened and it didn't go the way they expected. So there's a part of them that keeps replaying their own behavior here. And they're wondering, what did I say? How did I act? What did I do wrong? 9 of Cups. They're trying to figure out, did I miss something? Should I have said more? 4 of Arrows. Was there a chance that I could have changed things? But nothing stands out to them. Like they can't put their finger on it. Because honestly, with the 3 of Cups here, it's not about what they did. It's about where you were at. And that's what they slowly start to come to with. You didn't shut them out. You didn't reject them. You didn't create a scene. You just didn't meet them there anymore. And that's what keeps them looping. So there's also this like delayed realization that sort of goes a bit deeper. So you have Lovers next, right? This is not being in the same emotional space. That's Gemini. Not even close. So that changes all of the meaningful memories they have in hindsight of you guys, because now they can see it wasn't neutral. It was clear that you have moved forward, clear that you're not holding on to the same connection anymore. They don't have the same effect on you anymore. And once they see it that way, they can't unsee it. So there's even this moment later where they're alone doing something random and it comes back again. That exact interaction. And this time it hits even harder because now it's like engraved in their heads. That wasn't the same. That's not what we are anymore. And it comes in waves because now every time they think about you, they don't just think about the past. They think about that moment and how different it felt. The 6 of Wands, this is them realizing how little of control they had over it and how clear it was that something between you two had changed. Not dramatic way, not forced way, just permanently. All right, so if this reading resonated, let me know. We're going to go to the bonus message now. Okay, wait. Before you leave, this part matters a lot more than you might think. So what this person's sitting with right now isn't just that one interaction. It's about what that confirmed for them. Because up until that interaction, there was still this version of this in their head, like a version where you would react a certain way, you would still feel something. There was still this door, there was this opportunity. And even if it wasn't open, they wouldn't have said it out loud. So they had this assumption that if I could just see them in person one more time, it wouldn't feel like that. I could convince them. 7 of Swords, but now they know. There's no convincing, that's you. It's based on like experience. They need you to experience it better. They saw you. They felt the difference. They experienced the new you. 9 of Coins. So it was like on their end, they felt like with you, it felt complete now. Like it was, you were done. You weren't getting sucked back into that moment with them. Like you were just there and then you weren't. So that kind of energy is hard to misunderstand when you're actively trying to convince someone to stay with you. So you didn't leave them any space to hurt back into. It's not like aggressively or intentionally. You just don't operate from that place anymore because you were so hurt by them. And before, even when things were messy with you guys, you would be vocal and you would say, it hurts me so much. They knew how to reach you, how to get a reaction out of you, and how to re-enter this connection. But now they don't know how to do that. And that's create this quiet thought. Look at that keeps coming up. They don't know where they fit anymore, and they're so afraid to lose you. And that doesn't really have an easy answer because it's not about timing or saying the right thing or gifts or any of that. It's like you've moved into this different version of your life, of yourself, where they're not automatically included anymore. And they can feel that very clearly in real time happening. So there's one more thing here. So, whoa. So this is you not just pulling back. This isn't you just being quiet here. This is you changing how you respond and how you show up. And we kind of went over that a little bit briefly. And you're not, but the thing is, you're not allowing people access to things anymore. And I think now that you've got a taste of having that control of your life, you don't want to switch it back. And they're thinking, oh, I thought I had more time. And it's sitting with them very emotionally here. So they're like, there wasn't this big argument. There wasn't this big fight. How did I let this happen? And damn, they missed that boat where it changed. They weren't paying attention. There's also a lot of regret here. Like, it's not super loud. It's not overwhelming. It's just like small thoughts that come in randomly, that creep in. They're like, I should have handled that differently. They're like, I didn't think it would actually push them away. I didn't think it would get this bad. They're like, I thought they would always respond the same way, no matter what. And those thoughts, they don't go away. And they're not going to go away fast anymore because they're not confused anymore. They understand. And understanding it without being able to change it back feels worse than not even knowing. Because at least if you don't know, you can act naive. So it's not the fact that they just saw you. It's the fact that when they did, it confirmed something that they weren't ready to accept. That the version of you they thought that they could come back to, she gone. It doesn't exist anymore. So it's not hidden. It's not waiting. Like, it's gone.